Hello everyone, I'm the host of EXPAT EXPERTS podcast, Marc Alcubé, and this video is extracted of a longer interview that I had with Parimal Satyal. If you're interested in listening and watching to the full episode, you can find it here, and I hope you enjoy this.
So I am being asked for once, so I'll answer. So let's start with an example, all right? It's a cliche, what I'm going to mention, but we're going to talk about carbonara. Right. Now, carbonara is traditional in a way that the pad thai is traditional, in which it's not very old, the recipe. Some people even date it as early as the Second World War, right? But it is traditional, at least in the space that it occupies in people's minds. Now, the carbonara is a Roman pasta that is very basic in the ingredients, right? You have spaghetti, bucatini, whatever pasta you're using. You have eggs, you have guanciale, and you have pepper. You don't need anything else. That's carbonara.
That's the magic of most of Italian recipes.
That's the magic. But there is some, and I get frustrated because it's very creamy pasta, right? And so often in France, for example,
without the cream,
with the cream. And to me, this is a typical example, of, and people say, well, if I like it with cream, why can't I have it? Of course you can have it. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, just call it pasta with cream.
Pasta with cream. I think, and this is me, so that's my perspective. Not necessarily saying it's the correct one, although it is. So the way to get that creaminess in the Italian approach, right, is that there's a process of emulsification that happens between the cheese. Oh, I forgot the pecorino completely. But the pecorino, the cheese, and the pasta water emulsifies. And the best way to do it is this. There's a process called mantecare, right? So at the ends, when you are mixing everything, well, you don't need to do this with. I'm using the wrong pasta as an example. I should have used the amatriciana. But anyway, the point is there's a gesture which is sort of
buttering things.
Yeah, exactly. So mantecare, you can call it a number of others. There are other words that you can use also for that. But the point is to mix it enough that this emulsification happens and this creamy texture is there. And that texture is very much part of what makes it enjoyable. And so I guess they are diametrically opposed because the French approach is reduction, sauces, more complex preparations. There are exceptions, of course. And the Italian approach is 5 ingredients, sometimes 3. But the technique is really, really important.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, when you go to Bologna and you need to know tortelloni, for example, and then they do tortellini a brodo, which is with a broth, and it's as simple as it is, like a tortellini pasta, like, of course, but the pasta needs to be done in one way. The tortellini, depending on what filling it has, it needs to be turned in one way or the other to mark that it's different from the other. Bringing it into a broth of chicken or vegetables, it's special because it makes the filling soft. These kind of things, I meant it from a very ingredient perspective. At the end, right. Italian cuisine is let's try to reiterate on this same recipe with very, very few ingredients that we have at hand until we perfect it to a craziness. I know that cuisine does that also in that sense, but does it from very different perspectives.
Absolutely.
Like from long boiling times, from long cooking times, while the Italian, it's more like I prepare something and then I cook it 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's Gino da Campo said minimum, I'm going to do the accent, minimum effort, maximum results. And that's often, I find, the credo of Let me ask you, right? Because your listeners and your viewers know you fairly well now, but would you agree that
I don't know if they know me, actually I interview people all the time and they know a lot of my guests.
But maybe they don't know you very well, so this has been an occasion. So you've got a background that is obviously Catalan. There's a bit of Italian in you. Obviously, a good part of you is Italian. You've lived in a number of different regions, including Germany.
Yes.
So would you agree, disagree, or have a third opinion that a lot of great food comes from poverty?
Of course. I mean, people needs to eat. And the recipes that are the most crazy comes from times of need. And that's how it is, no? And a lot of the things that we eat right now are rich and they are addictive. That's different. It's not, doesn't mean that they are good. Like, there is really good chips and potato chips in the market, but you eat them because they are addictive, not because they are extremely good. My grandma or my grandpa used to fry the bone of the fish, for example. And it gives a tasty salt that the chips will never have it, and you eat it as an aperitif thing. You eat together with a vermouth, and in some parts of Spain they call it raspa, and that's incredible, and that's literally out of need. Like you need to use the fish until the point of like using the bones of the animal. But that's exactly the same as cooking bone marrow. That's out of the need that you start eating the inside of a bone. Bone marrow, it's incredible.
It's taste-wise. And you can now go to a Michelin star restaurant and order.
And they will put your bone marrow as the most sophisticated thing in the world. But that's because most of these things were discovered by someone who was hungry.
And so, and I really think, and this is why I think, there's a place for all of this. I do enjoy gastronomy. I do enjoy it for also the visual and the sensual aspect of it. It's a weird way to say it, but I often liken it to an artist working on his or her craft. But it's a very different art craft than when you're in Nepal. And this is the bit of Nepalese food I'm really interested in. When you go to a certain part, I discovered this. Gosh, this is very embarrassing because I don't know what this dish is called. It uses the intestines, and it's covered with, but what's in it is bone marrow, I believe. So not noble parts of an animal. And I don't even know what animals use. I think it's a lamb. I don't know. This is why you can see I'm getting interested, but I don't have the knowledge, right? So this is an exciting place to be. And I tried it, and my first reaction was, this is very interesting. Second reaction was, why do people eat this? Because the initial, it's strong. And then as you have it with some beer, and you have that amongst friends, then I started loving it. Also for because there's a certain part of, and I can't even tell you which subculture in Nepal this comes from, and I wish I'd researched this, but I'm just speaking from memory. It allows you to sort of connect to food that people are eating, and they're so proud to show you that this is their food, and it's a way to connect to people. And so this is the bit that I'm really, so I told you there's a familial side, that's different, but I'm also interested in sort of figuring out or discovering street food in Nepal for that exact same reason.
Yeah, makes sense. Talking about street food, actually, also, like, we talk about it like before. Here, Berlin, there is like street food from absolutely everywhere in the world. But not too much of traditional German food at the end.
Nope.
Is it a reflection of the situation of the city, in the sense of like expats don't want to eat German food, or it's due to the fact that German food doesn't have the quality or like, I'm not saying that there is not good German food. I'm just saying, I'm questioning if the fact that there is 3 Vietnamese in one single street in the non-touristic area of Berlin, it's just a reflection that even the Germans prefer to grab a quick Viet pho than trying to go for, I don't know, for sauerkraut.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point, I think. So Berlin's never really been too good about German food. And a lot of German food tends to be, in my opinion, very hearty, sort of more
filling and
more filling, and I love German food traditions, and you've spent some time in Hessen, so you know about Handkäse mit Musik and all that.
Schnitzel.
If you liked this short video out of the full episode, you can find the link to it around here and in the description below. Of course, if you are also interested in checking out other episodes, please subscribe and like.